Here's what's coming up on your horizon. Well, every morning on my drive to work, I pass a local elementary. Over the years, traffic around the school has gotten progressively heavier, and I assume that was because of higher enrollments. But when I talked to the principal recently, he said their number of students is actually down. So why more cars? Well, it's more and more parents dropping their kids off rather than letting them ride the bus or walk. Today, we'll begin by taking a look at a parenting style that, while not new, has become prevalent. It's called helicopter parenting, and it's having an impact both in education and the workplace.
The real issue with the sense of entitlement is that it reduces students' senses of responsibility for their own learning.
Our Andy Barth gets down and dirty in a program aimed at children, but it can teach parents a lesson too.
It's awesome.
Really fun? It's awesome!
We will look at an effort in Northeast Oklahoma designed to curb childhood obesity in Native Americans.
Sometimes it's a real challenge, especially at a young age, to get those children to eat those vegetables. But because it's their garden and they're taking part in it, so they're picking them and they want to eat them.
And in our Oklahoma Standard, we recognize a group helping educate children in an unconventional way. Stay with us for Oklahoma Horizon.
Oklahoma Horizon is made possible by the Oklahoma Department of Career and Technology Education.
Oklahoma's investment in career tech provides more than nationally recognized technology education and training. It produces solid financial returns for the state's economic future. Oklahoma Career Tech, elevating our economy.
And the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food, and Forestry, helping good people grow good things. And now, from the Career Tech Studios in Stillwater, here's your host, Rob McClendon.
Hello everyone, thanks for joining us here on Horizon. Well, American parents are more involved in their children's lives than ever. Yet recent studies show that too much parenting can help create undesired outcomes. In fact, according to one study, the more money parents spend on a child's college education, the worse grades the kids get. It's called helicopter parenting, a name given to moms and dads who hover over their children. And it's where we begin today. For parents, sometimes even the best intentions can backfire. From baby on board signs to mandatory car seats and bicycle helmets, most parents instinctively want to protect their children every way they can.
You be careful now.
But when does good parenting turn into overparenting that smothers a child's development?
I contend that as a result of the different parenting model that was started by the baby boomers, the self-esteem programming, the parent as friend, the choices and options, the constant programming, which is the constructed childhood instead of childhood as something that naturally occurs out in the community, that we see a very different cohort of young people.
Mark Taylor is an education and workforce researcher and says today's students often have a sense of entitlement that past generations didn't.
We have pretty abundant evidence that K-12 education and higher education are both struggling with this cohort of young people. I've written several articles about parents, the helicopter parents, the snowplow parents, who are intervening in their children's academic careers.
Intervention that, no matter how well-intentioned, has created a generation of learners that look to their parents to solve even the simplest of problems.
The real issue with the sense of entitlement is that it reduces students' senses of responsibility for their own learning.
And limits the development of age-appropriate strengths and skills, a trend that is impacting the classroom and even the workplace.
A lot of employers are being challenged as the consumer student comes into the workplace as the consumer employee. That's not what you can do for the company, but what can the company do for me? What's one of the greatest ironies right now is that in times of record unemployment, employers report that they can't find the workers with the qualifications that they want. either the academic credentials in technical fields or the workplace readiness in terms of showing up, staying busy, responsible for outcomes. So even though the consequences of the educational practices are showing up when they go to the workplace, the workplaces are having to do some things to adjust to this generation of young people. And I've had employers tell me, well, by God, we not changing. It's my business, so it's either going to be my way or the highway. And I point out that people who can't learn to leverage the strengths of this generation of young people and, very candidly, to accommodate some of their expectations for the workplace are going to be on an endless treadmill of turnover.
I quit. This job is different than I thought it would be.
Now, a recent study shows that parents who feel more anxiety about their children often have regret about their own missed goals in life. And at the same time, researchers found that kids of helicopter parents are more likely to be anxious themselves as well as narcissistic with poor coping skills. Now, when we return, we'll look at a program designed to help both children and their parents learn some valuable lessons while getting dirty.
You're watching Oklahoma Horizon, featuring some of the good things that are happening in the great state of Oklahoma.
Well, most of us at one time or another has admonished a child not to get dirty, but not today. Joining me now is our Andy Barth.
Well, Rob, we've all seen those childhood pictures of the kid on his first birthday who's eating his very first birthday cake and it's smothered all over his face. Then there's the kid in the high chair who's covered in spaghetti. And then there's just those of us kids who just enjoy playing in the mud. And while parents may not be excited to let their kids get dirty, a gentleman at Oklahoma State University is challenging kids to get healthy and filthy. And he's also challenging their parents to let them.
It's dirty. It's slimy.
Come here.
It's tricky.
Kid, get on.
It's the Stillwater Mud U race. And the dirtier you get, the better.
The idea here is about fun. It's not about a race. We're not interested in who comes first. It's about going out with friends and accomplishing things together. If they need help.
Tim Baghurst designed the race and says the course offers different challenges to runners.
It's about a mile long, maybe a mile and a half, and we have 14 obstacles. Each obstacle is different. Some are just silly, getting dizzy or climbing over things or finding things, and others are more mud-based or climbing up and through things and a little bit more challenging, but the focus is on mud.
It is so muddy.
And for parent Terry Malsbury, getting muddy is a good thing.
I think athletics in general is very important for kids. It keeps them involved. And not only that, but as a team, they get to work on teamwork and gives them a sense of purpose, I guess, in a way.
And for the kids on the trail,
It's awesome. Really fun? It's awesome!
and Baghurst believes what makes this run awesome is the lack of parental supervision on the trail.
Wow, this is so cool.
We're in an environment where a lot of kids are at home. They are playing computer games, watching TV. They're being told by their parents what they can and can't do all the time. Don't step in the mud, don't go here, don't go there. And I want to get kids away from that kind of mold, and I want to get them outside. I want them to see and experience what we have. I want them to be independent of their parents, to learn to do things themselves and not have to rely on the parents. And to some extent, I also want the parents to maybe grow up a little bit and let those kids go and do something as well for themselves, rather than having to be that helicopter parent, so to speak, where they're hovering over them all the time.
Oh, it's in my mouth.
Getting down and dirty is just the perk of this fun run. Baghurst says this activity helps fight the war on childhood obesity.
We have a lot of two-parent working families where it's very difficult to have home-cooked meals and have everybody home at the same time. And so it puts a lot of strain on families and on kids. And this is one of those activities where you can go out and be physically active, and you don't have to be out every weekend as part of a baseball team or any other sport team where you're required to be there for practice 3 times a week. This is an opportunity to do something that's totally different.
Now you got all dirty.
And while it's all fun and games here at the contest for the kids, parents aren't too keen on having mud in their cars. But here at the Mud U Fun Race, they have it covered.
The last 3 obstacles parents are able to see, and actually one of the obstacles, we've called it parental education, actually is a series of water hoses that the parents have, and they're allowed to douse their kids as they go by. The kids go by from there onto a 75-foot slip and slide, and from that they go down into the final mud bog where they get to watch again. So this, you know, the parents, we wanted to get them involved a little bit, but at the same time we want those kids to do the majority of it by themselves.
And the runners have a blast.
I'd recommend it to like everybody because your parents won't let you do this, but they will. Yeah, sometime.
And for Malmesbury, it all comes down to fun.
It's a good time for the kids. It's a great memory for them, and you only live once.
Well, now another mud run is already planned and registration is now opened. The event is scheduled for September 27th and 28th, and registration will fill quickly. And you know, Rob, when you're a kid, there's nothing like playing in the mud.
Well, this inaugural event certainly looked like it was a grand success.
It really was, Rob. More than 500 kids ran the course, and Baghurst told me he actually had to cut off registration because he'd already reached his maximum limit, which is why I think this second event is coming up so quickly.
All right, and may be around for a long time. Thank you so much, Andy.
You're welcome, Rob.
You can keep up with us throughout the week. Just head to okhorizon.com where you can see more of any of our stories, read our reporters behind the scenes blogs, see what others are saying about us on Twitter, and face the facts with our regular updates. So reach out and touch us anywhere and anytime.
Well, you don't have to be an overprotective parent to appreciate how technology has made all our lives just a bit safer. At a recent education expo, we came upon an exhibit that we just had to stop and take a look, even if it kind of makes you cringe.
Stopped in the nick of time.
Saw-stop table saws are the best table saw in the market.
Mark Walters is a distributor of Saw-Stop and says this equipment ensures you go home with all of your fingers.
The blade carries a small electrical charge. It's about 3 volts of electricity, and when you touch it, it acts like a touch lamp. So when you touch the lamp, it comes on. When you touch the blade on the Saw-Stop, it detects that you touched it, so it activates a brake.
And in a blink of an eye, drops the razor-sharp blade beneath the table.
It stops it 10 times faster than an airbag, within 5 milliseconds.
Good news for shop teachers like Edgar Maxwell, who always worries about students getting hurt.
It saves fingers. I was teaching about 3 weeks and I had a boy cut the tip of his thumb off. And so that was always been a horror for me, a fear. And when I heard of this technology, I talked to my administrator and we bought it and had great success with it.
A common sentiment Walters heard from many of his customers.
And I've had customers that I've sold this saw to and said, Mark, I just paid for my saw. Said that I got my finger in the blade, but he said it didn't even bleed. He said it happened so fast it didn't even bleed. Just a little tiny nick.
Saving fingers, one less cut at a time.
Well, Saw-Stops aren't cheap. They start out at $1,800 and can go up to nearly $6,000. But when you look at what you're risking, namely your fingers, that cost isn't so bad.
Still to come on Oklahoma Horizon, helping children read with a horse tail.
And those horses can look right at you and they appear to be listening and looking at those pictures. So it's so fun.
But first, curbing childhood obesity in Native America.
Well, as we've seen today, many of the traits we learn as children can stay with us for a lifetime. That's why Oklahoma's Cherokee Nation is focusing on healthy eating habits for children. Shelby Farrell has our story.
Got it? It's time for lunch at Wanda's Wee Preschool and Daycare in Grove.
Twist, twist, twist.
But first, they have to pick it.
Got it.
Children are pulling vegetables from gardens just like this all around the Cherokee Nation.
We think this is not just about teaching our kids about their culture and where food comes from, but also teaching healthy habits, getting nutritious foods into the homes of our people.
Chuck Hoskin Jr. is the Secretary of State for the Cherokee Nation, and he says the Learn to Grow program is helping over 3,000 children and their families to eat healthier.
You hear about kids who went home and told mom and dad that they want to get some gardening tools instead of toys. It's just really inspiring to hear some of these stories.
Lisa Evans is Learn to Grow coordinator for the Cherokee Nation.
Childhood obesity is on the rise, and we see it not just in Oklahoma, but among our Native American children. And so we feel like this is a project that we can help to prevent those health conditions by getting the children and reaching them at a young age when they're in child care center before they even get into the school age, and just getting them with those healthy eating habits.
But how do the child care providers get thousands of kids to eat so many vegetables? Evans says some of the trick is in giving ownership of the gardens to the children.
We are seeing the children eating the vegetables that they grow. If we just put those vegetables on the plate, sometimes it's a real challenge, especially at a young age, to get those children to eat those vegetables.
I didn't want it.
But because it's their garden and they're taking part in it, so they're picking them and they want to eat them. So that's the biggest reward out of it.
So what do the kids think?
It's fun to plant and harvest all the vegetables because you get to dig the hole and put the seed in. My favorite part is watching the plants grow.
And eating them too.
These tomatoes are too good to stop eating.
From their gardens to their tables, the Cherokee Nation is learning to grow and growing to learn.
Now the program is completing its second year in daycares in Northeast Oklahoma, teaching lessons the Cherokee Nation believes could last a lifetime. Well, there are undoubtedly multiple reasons why Americans are too heavy, but few will deny how we eat and what we eat certainly makes an impact. Paige Wallace takes us inside a classroom where some old-fashioned cooking lessons are being taught to a new generation.
Teaching youth the connection between food and health is a goal Yukon high school teacher Louise Terry strives to achieve, yet it was also a lesson that changed her life.
Red pepper, carrot, onion.
Today's lesson:
Ingredients are listed
how to make a healthy egg sandwich.
So the fat in an egg comes from what? The yolk. So if you remove the yolk from the egg, how much of the fat are you removing? All of it. All of it. Very good.
Yukon high school teacher Louise Terry is teaching students about the importance of making healthy choices through her personal nutrition and food science classes.
Outside aisles, why? Well, we know that this is the first generation of children that are not going to outlive their parents, and that's a very frightening statistic. We are the #1 country with obesity. We're the #1 country with the most people with diabetes, high blood pressure, and cancer. And that's what I do, is to teach the students how to make healthier choices and how to help their own parents, because many go home and they're teaching their parents what they're learning in class, and their parents didn't know that. And then when they grow to have their own family, they can pass that down, and hopefully they'll be the generation that stops the epidemic that we're in right now. Very good.
Learning healthy choices as well as how to cook.
And so yes, the preparation, learning how to prepare the food is very important. Today they're learning about egg cookery, and one of the principles of egg cookery is to use low heat, and they're not supposed to have color on them. And so you crack an egg, and what do you hear? The sizzle. Well, you're toughening your protein, you're losing your nutrients already, you're overcooking it, and you're altering the actual flavor of the way the food should be. So the kids come in here, they learn the proper cooking techniques, and then they're learning that the food tastes better. If it's not what?
And is better for you. Patrick Wallace says he's learning how to eat right.
I'm doing bodybuilding competition, team division. I'll be trying to get into the 185 weight class. Over the summer, I started looking at my nutrition a little more because I was just eating very unhealthy.
And for Sawyer Hall, he plans on using his new skills to pursue a career in the food industry.
I wanted to do culinary arts, and I knew it was a prerequisite to take culinary arts because I want to be a pastry chef when I get older.
I want you to do nutritional analysis today also.
Terry teaches her students the connection between food and health, a lesson she had to first learn herself.
I weighed 335 pounds, And I've taught nutrition and foods all my life, and I've gone around and tasted everything that the students make. And I finally took responsibility for my own health. And it's a journey. The first round, I lost the weight with exercise. 3,500 calories equal a pound of fat, whether it's good foods or bad foods. And to lose that, you have to have a deficit, and you can't stop eating. Then your body shuts down, and it holds every calorie you take. So you have to eat to lose weight, and people don't understand that. And that was hard for me to understand, even though I taught this. So then I finally put it to the test of the nutrition and the 6 small meals a day, and I knew why that was more important, to keep the blood sugars level and even, and so that you're not starving all the time, to keep the body refueled. And the weight started coming off. The students see it coming off, so they see it, and it's encouraging to them, and that's what I should have been doing years ago.
An opportunity to set an example by teaching the importance of nutrition in a life-changing way.
In recent years, Miss Terry's classes competed at the FCCLA Culinary Arts Competition, earning them over $100,000 in cash prizes.
Want to share something you've seen here today? Well, all of our episodes are streaming on our YouTube channel at Oklahoma Horizon TV. Or you can subscribe to our weekly free podcasts on iTunes.
Well, the Horse Tales Literacy Project focuses on promoting literacy through the combination of live horses and classic horse literature. Now, each year, Stillwater Public Schools and Payne County's Turning Point Ranch use this unique reading program to help inspire students to read. Here's our Lisa Hines.
From painting
There you go. Looks so good.
to grooming to reading.
So they're here. That's a good one.
Students from Highland Park Elementary School in Stillwater are learning about horses and literacy. Callie Bennett is with Turning Point Ranch and says their therapeutic horses are perfect for this unique reading program.
Getting kids excited about reading, especially at first grade level, can just really change their lives. And so if we can kind of capture that now and get them excited about reading early on, it really can make a difference that lasts a long time. It's just proved to increase their reading by up to a grade level, and we feel like we have horses to motivate that reading, to motivate that excitement about being able to read, and to give them an opportunity to read to a horse. Why not?
So what do you read to a horse? Why, Black Beauty, of course.
Some of them are actually storytelling, some of them are actually going word for word, and some are going a little at a time and then telling about the picture.
Gay Washington is with Stillwater Public Schools and says reading to a horse can be quite motivating.
And those horses can look right at you, and they appear to be listening and looking at those pictures, so it's so fun.
And getting the kids wanting to read at an early age is the goal.
We selected first grade for a specific reason. It's because we want to get that foundation in there, and if we can tackle those barriers at this age, at first grade, kindergarten, first grade, you have a much higher success of being able to read when you're in third grade. So, it's just another premise of that early intervention. And it's really about the foundations.
With many activities to do, the kids aren't the only ones enjoying the day. The horses do too.
They love it. They stand there and just listen, and I think they love the attention. They know that someone's totally focused on them. So yeah, I think they love it just as much as the kids do.
To quote Winston Churchill, there's something about the outside of a horse that is good for the inside of a man. Or in this case, the heart of a child with a good book and a steady companion to read it to.
Time to go to the next one. Can I finish this page on the halfway down?
Now, Lisa tells us that at the end of the day, each of the students was given 2 new books, which for some were the very first they've ever owned. Now, the Turning Point Ranch has a long history of working with various students with developmental needs, which makes it this week's Oklahoma Standard. Next time on Oklahoma Horizon, we'll show you why new environmental regulations could raise the fire danger in rural Oklahoma.
We have agreements with over 900 fire departments here in the state, and the rural fire departments and the rural municipal fire departments are critical to emergency services.
The rule of unintended consequences on Oklahoma Show Over the Heartland, Oklahoma Horizon. Well, that is going to wrap us up for today, but you can see more of any of our stories on our website at okhorizon.com. You can watch us on the go with our weekly podcast on iTunes and follow us throughout the week on Twitter at OKHorizonTV, or just become a Horizon fan on Facebook. I'm Rob McClendon. Thanks for watching. See you back here next week.
Horizon is made possible by the Oklahoma Department of Career and Technology Education and the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food, and Forestry, helping good people grow good things. Copies of today's show are available on our website, okhorizon.com. Thank you for watching Oklahoma Horizon.